Asia, for the people who don't know me, and I'm one of Shawn's close friends. So, out of the 10 of us, only 2 of us managed to finish speeches, and I was one of them. So, yeah, I guess I will start. It was hard to pick words for this speech because I don't think there's any sentence that could describe what it was like to know Shawn, and to be his friend, and to be someone to care for. But I'll try my best. Shawn was a star-crossed lover, fated to give love, who left before he could find his own. But I know that the love he deserved was more than the world could ever offer, because that's just how much he gave to everyone around him. So I will wish, with every bone in my body, that he has finally been able to accept the love that he deserves. He's an inspiration to me because, despite everything the world had put against him, he always chose to love first and hurt later. One of the first times I interacted with Shawn was when I was walking around after badminton practice in grade 10, and suddenly he grabs me and goes, "You're Keisha, right?" And immediately in that moment, I swear, even if he had said my name was Jessica, I would have just been like, yes, that's me. And then he proceeded to say, "Your jacket looks really expensive." And I was a little stunned. I was like, thank you? I don't really know. I didn't pay for it. He continues to ramble on, and the next day he comes back and goes, "I went to the Bay to find your jacket last night. It was really expensive." And that's when I knew the man in front of me was both insane and incredibly determined. So I took that as a green light to befriend a man who could find a stranger's fourth cousin twice removed through their Pinterest page. Which reminds me, one time he was so insistent to find my Spotify, he scoured the internet for any trace of me until he found my grade 6 Pinterest board and linked that to my Spotify, also he could find my playlist. That man was literally crazy, but that's what we loved him for. There's so many memories I have with him that I don't have time to share. So many things I never want to forget. But above all that, there's so many memories that I don't want to make without him. And I never expected that the 6'12" man in a rainbow striped shirt will come into my life and soon become one of the most important people I will ever know. What's going on? Was the most spontaneous person I knew with the greatest fear of missing out. And honestly, no concept of boundaries, but I miss him for that. I miss him so much. Shawn knows I've never been one to believe in fate or destiny. I'm not even religious, so I may be a fool to believe in this, but I know, in another universe, in a different galaxy, or maybe in another lifetime, we will meet again. His legacy, his laughter he made, the conversations he had, and the cries he shared. But more than that was the ability to be remembered by people's souls even if he didn't know it then. His legacy was his humanity, something he leaves in all of us today. The one thing he always said to me was, "I'm so proud of you, Keisha." Those words will forever resonate in my heart. Those were the words that got me through my homesickness, through finals, and all the times that I felt so lost in life. To the end of my days, I will carry his pride, his love, and his support with me. And if I could tell him one more thing, it would be that I've never been more proud to see someone grow and change as much as he did. And the life that he lived will be something that the world is endlessly proud of. I will be infinitely grateful for the impact Shawn has made on my life. Some friendships last a lifetime, but in the last 4 years, Shawn made a friendship worth so much more than the span of one life. And I wouldn't trade that for the world. They always say, right person, wrong time. But Shawn will always be my right person, not enough time. I love you, Shawn, and I miss you so much. This is my goodbye until we meet again.
Off by saying thank you to everyone that could make it here today. I know that for a lot of us, we haven't seen each other since high school, and I really wish it could be under different circumstances.
Kelly.
I'm not really good with words, and I never imagined that I would have to write and deliver a speech to honor one of my closest friends. Shawn came into my life at the beginning of 1 October 4 years ago, and we met heading the same way home, suffering on public transit together, and his immediate reaction to seeing me was to insult me. We spent the whole ride talking, and he admitted that he'd been strategically planning to talk to me in the weeks leading up to this, but he needed time to build up the courage to do that. So after all that debating, that was how he decided to open up the conversation with me, by taking a jab at how I looked. And maybe that was when I should have known he was going to be such a huge part of my life. Shawn was the first person who taught me how to love someone else, and I was lucky to have been loved for the first time by him. He was unlike anyone I had ever met. He was selfless and stubborn at times, and recklessly spontaneous. In hindsight, we were very incompatible. The last thing I expected was for him to stay in my life for as long as he did. But for whatever reason, at the end of that fall in my first year of high school, I wanted the stranger that I'd met less than a month ago to know everything about me. And there was nothing we kept from each other. Even the darkest, deepest parts of me were shared with him, and I like to think I was able to provide that kind of comforting space for him too. You know, when he needed that the most, when we both did, and when all that mattered was trying to figure out who we were and what to do with our lives. I had been given the greatest privilege of being able to experience love, loss, and unimaginable change with him in this lifetime. He was this light in my life that I needed so badly at the time. But I think as much as I can say I knew him, I couldn't fully understand the entirety of his pain as the years went by. I knew that above a lasting love or his future, his life path, his career, most of all, Shawn just wanted to be understood. So when we initially met as two very young, clueless kids who were still trying to figure out who we were, the most important thing about our friendship was to make each other feel seen. To be known and understood by someone else, to be endlessly loved despite all the flaws. I'm eternally grateful to have been known by someone like Shawn. And as I was writing this, stuck in my house that doesn't feel like a home without him in it, and seeing him in everything I do and everywhere I go, I realized how difficult it was to try and sum up the last 4 years of my life with him in a few short minutes. My biggest mistake was thinking I had forever with him. I never thought that the last time I talked to him, it was going to be the last time. I thought there would be more. I would give anything to turn back time. Now I'm forced to carry this empty feeling with me. The heartache from losing my best friend of 4 years in the span of a couple hours and not really understanding why this had to happen. I wish I could say that in this moment all I feel for Shawn is love, but mostly I just feel angry and resentful. He made peace with his choice, but I didn't, and I don't know when I ever will. And now I ask myself every day where there was something I could have done to change the reason behind why we're all here today, and I get no answers. I'm sure for a lot of us, we don't know how to deal with grief. I still don't know how to either. You don't get used to how wrong it feels to continue living your life once they're gone. But I've heard that grief is really just love with no place to go. It's all the unspent love you want to give, but you can't anymore. And I know that eventually a time will come when these feelings of anger and regret, guilt, wishing I could have done more will all subside. And then what's left is nothing but love. I hope wherever he is now, he knows and sees just how much he was loved. I hope he's safe, and I hope he was finally able to find the happiness he couldn't find for himself when he was here. So to Shawn, if you're listening, which I know he is, wherever you are, wherever you wanted to go, I hope you know that I loved you, and that you knew me more than anyone, and that even forever wouldn't have been enough time with you. I think I'll miss you for the rest of my life.